it's Medium Jenny Lee, and I'm here with the Woo Woo Book Review number 8. I'm finally making a Woo Woo book review for the Raw Contact Teaching of the Law of One, Volume 1. A year ago, I started reading this book, and I thought that it was so bizarre at first. It was so bizarre, but impactful and relevant to what was happening in my Twitch community, that I decided that as I was reading it, that I wanted to make videos for every what they call session in this book. So that's what I did. And there are 57 videos that took me from July of 2022 until February of 2023 to make one for each. The first one's an introduction. And then after that, there's one video for every session of the book, which has 56 sessions. So now I'm going to take some time and kind of think about, revisit, and review the Volume 1 Raw Contact for you. And for myself. Because guess what? There's a Volume 2. It's sitting right over there. And I haven't started it yet. But I was told that I need to start it soon. It's a huge undertaking. And you're going to see why here in a second. Here it is. This is the Raw Contact Teaching the Law of One, Volume 1. Okay? You can see it's a mighty thick book. There are 538 pages. Now, some of the end of it is like index and glossary and stuff like that. So if you have no idea what this book is, which if you're part of my Team Weird Twitch community, you definitely know what this book is because we talk about it a lot. But if this is something that's new to you, you haven't watched all 57 of my videos, then here it is, okay? So this book is a re-listening. This came out in 2018. It is a re-listening of a whole bunch. I think there are maybe almost I can't remember the exact number, but I think there's like almost 200 sessions of this group of 3 people. Dawn Elkins, who's pictured here, Carla Ruckert, who is pictured here, but you can barely tell that she's there because she's laying down on a bed and she has a towel over her eyes. And then Jim McCarty, who is not pictured in this picture. And what they do is, in 1981, which just happens to be the year that I was born. Funny enough. Starting on January 15th of 1981, these 3 people go on a wild, crazy adventure into trance mediumship or channeling or whatever you want to call it. Carla being the medium, and Dawn being the questioner, and Jim is there for energetic moral support. Basically, he's meditating the entire session of these trance sessions that they do. And between the 3 of them, they bring through an entity who calls itself Ra. See, I am Ra. Starts every answer with I am Ra. And as you find out throughout the book, Ra is supposedly and this is some crazy stuff, which if you happen to stumble across this video, I hope it is that you are into crazy stuff, because otherwise this is going to sound absolutely batshit crazy. With that being said, Ra is supposedly the collection of all the souls that were physical entities of humanoid form from the planet Venus, of which they were humanoid forms many, 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 many millions of years ago. And they have moved on to a higher, what they call density. Some other woo-woo people might refer to as frequency. And they are in a state of being as one entity, even though they are the conglomeration of all the entities, all the energetic souls of this planet and this particular species of what we would refer to as aliens. Okay, did you get that so far? Are you with me? Are you with me here? All right. So Carla is what Ra refers to as the instrument. We will refer to as the channeler or the medium. And she is in a complete full trance state where she does not know what is happening, and the transmission or the download of information is coming through her voice. She is speaking the information that this entity Ra is transmitting through into her body, but she does not know what is happening. And Don, who is the questioner, comes up with all kinds of great questions to ask Ra. Some of them are about Ra themselves. Some are about history, some are about science, some are about aliens, some are about UFOs, some are about cattle mutilations, some are about chakras, this book is just the first volume of a re-listening report, which I'll go into that in a second. And it covers so many different topics. And this entity, Ra, who is supposed to be a higher, more wise, higher density, higher frequency entity, answers as many questions as they possibly can. You come to find out that there's a lot of things that we're not allowed to know because of free will, what they call the law of confusion. That's fun, right? Free will is the law of confusion. If you don't say, you don't say. Anyway, so, and there's some things that we just don't understand. Like there's some things we're not capable of understanding in this human life. So what these volumes are is, let's go into that for a second. So these volumes came out in 2018. Well, the first one did anyway. I'm not sure about the second one. We haven't got that far yet. And it is a re-listening and a reorganizing of the recorded sessions that they did in 1981, because the original publications were very selective in what they decided to put out. And I believe, even though I haven't read it, it was more centered along different kinds of topics. It's like they were taking the sessions and trying to group them in to different topics, but they also excluded personal things that they would ask Ra about, which they did ask a ton of questions about Carla because she was having a lot of health problems while they're in the middle of doing this. There was 4 books originally published. And at some point, probably in the late 90s or the early 2000s, some other people decided to go through and listen to all the tapes all over again, compare them to the old books, and reorganize it in order with everything in it, with nothing eliminated. So that's what these are. So if you come across the Raw Contact and it's in one of those 4 volumes, it's completely set up differently than this, and there's things that are missing if you get the original ones. This one is the one that has all the sessions in order with lots of extra information. You know, there's like an introduction. In the back, there's a bunch of pictures about them, you know, them doing their work. There's Carla and Dawn. They also have some cats. They showed pictures of the cats. Gandalf was one of their names. Love it, right? Cat called Gandalf. So this is what I read. There's Jim meditating. This is the version of this collection of sessions that I've read. Just the first volume. How do I feel about this book? Well, let's first talk about the process of reading it. It is very difficult to read. And that was another reason why I made all the videos for it. As you can see, as I was reading it, I would mark things that I knew that I wanted to talk about in the videos. I would also go through and research things that I wasn't sure what they were talking about, or I wanted to know more information about. And I also would make notes about how certain things made me feel or what they made me think of. And all of these notes and explanations and extra research are in all of those sessions, those video sessions. So they're all available in the Raw Contact Volume 1 Discussions. Is a playlist on my YouTube channel. And each one is called Book Discussion, the Raw Contact Volume 1, and they're numbered 1 through 57. And if you go to that playlist, you can watch them all in order. So then you get all the information that I painstakingly read through. And that will give you a hint into how it is to read this book. It is painstaking to read this book because the way that Raw talks is very confusing. A lot of things that they talk about are very confusing. They use a lot of terminology that you have to figure out how to understand what the hell they're talking about. Like, I would read a part and then I would have to read it again. And then I would have to like make a note, or I would have to underline things, or I'd have to like, this part's important, you know? And then what really made me understand it the best was making those videos. Reading it out loud, trying to explain what I was talking about, and sharing all the notes and research that I did along the way, and talking about my own personal experiences and what the things made me think about. That was really what got me through this book. Now, if you're going to read this book, you might have a completely different experience than me as far as the actual reading of it. You might start reading it and be like, I can't understand any of this, and you might give up. And if you do decide to give up, you can watch all my videos. Or there's other people that have done the same thing that I've done. There's podcasts and videos, and I'm not the only person that spent a lot of time on this particular material. But why did I spend so much time in this material, you might ask yourself? What in the hell would make me want to do all of this work? Because what I really feel about this book after I have finished it and made 57 videos and took notes and researched and had my own personal experiences was that this material is life-changing. So let's put a little disclaimer here, right? Yes, I am a woo-woo person. This is called the woo-woo book review, for crying out loud. Yes, I am a spiritual person. Yes, I am a medium who thinks that they talk to dead people. among other things. Yes, I am a tarot reader and a metaphysical person, and etc., etc., etc. So if for some reason you've watched this video to this point and you're like, this shit's crazy, I don't know why you're still watching it. But here's my disclaimer on this book and any woo-woo books, or let's just say any books that are considered to be truthful and factual and nonfiction in general. All right? Read it with an open mind that what they're putting out is the truth. But feel it in yourself whether something is true or not. If something in a book, this book or otherwise, does not resonate for you and you're like, that's a crock of shit and I do not believe in that and that's not my experience, there is not anything wrong with that. I'm not saying that everything in this book is 100% factual, because I don't know. I'm saying that the concepts that this book brings up about so many different things about our universe, about our souls, about just a wide variety of things, has made other things in my life that I thought and felt and experienced makes so much more sense. And that's why this book has been so impactful for me personally and for so many other people. Because it wasn't that I was reading this book and thinking, oh, now I understand the universe. It was, I was reading this book and I was like, oh my God, that's why this, and that's why I felt that. And that's why this makes sense to me now. It was starting to explain things that I had already felt, that I had already experienced, that I already thought, and making it in a way that kind of started putting all the puzzle pieces together. That's what happened with this book for me. And I think that's what happens for a lot of people when they read this book. They really take the time to get into the information. Which, of course, there's always going to be people that think that's a crock of shit, and that's perfectly fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But as this is a book review, let's sum it up as this. It's really hard to read. No joke. Super hard to read. A lot of crazy stuff. A lot of crazy information. If you decide to read this book, or you've read it already, be open-minded. Take from it what you experience, what you feel is right, what resonates for you. And I think that it will really help kind of clear up a lot of things about how the universe works and where the solar system came from, and how our souls function and what the chakras are and how everything is interconnected. Because it's the law of one. Everything's one. All the things are one. Which I already thought and believed. And then when I read this, it was like, yeah. So this has been my review, my woo-woo book review, number 8 of the Raw Contact Teaching the Law of One, Volume 1. At some point in the next few months, I will begin the tedious adventure of Volume 2. And if you were excited about my videos coming out for the first volume, make sure you look for those, probably coming later this year. I hope that this book review was enjoyable and that you got something out of it. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.